The compressor in this wine cooler woke me up at 2 a.m., not because it was broken, because it was working exactly as designed. This is the Antarctic Star 26-bottle wine cooler, 3.2 cubic feet, compressor-driven, single zone. And on Amazon, it sits in a category so crowded with nearly identical units that buying one feels less like a decision and more like a gamble. We tested it for 3 weeks, different temperatures, different loads, different placements. The results were more interesting than the price tag suggested. And one finding in particular is something every buyer in this category should hear before they click purchase. But first, what this unit actually is and who it's really built for. Out of the box, the Antarctic Star reads as modern and composed. The black chassis with stainless trim is clean. The glass door is double paned and tinted, just enough to soften the interior glow without obscuring the view. The blue LED lighting inside is soft, not harsh. It gives the unit a slightly lounge-like presence in a dim room. Here's the first thing to calibrate. This is a narrow unit. At 17.3 inches wide, it's meaningfully slimmer than most 26-bottle competitors. That's a genuine advantage if you're working with a tight counter run or a compact bar setup, but the trade-off is depth. It extends nearly 20.5 inches, which can surprise people who measure width and forget the rest. The shelves are adjustable wire racks. Functional, not elegant, they handle standard Bordeaux bottles cleanly. Larger shoulder bottles, certain burgundy or champagne shapes, require shelf reshuffling. Plan for it. The leveling legs at the front are a small detail that matters more than it sounds. On any surface with even a slight grade, getting the door seal right depends on them being dialed in. The Antarctic Star runs a compressor, not a thermoelectric cooler. That distinction shapes everything about how it performs. Thermoelectric units are gentler and quieter, but slower to cool and more sensitive to ambient room temperature. A compressor holds tighter ranges and recovers faster after the door opens repeatedly. We set the unit to 55 degrees, the standard benchmark for mixed storage, and tracked it with a wireless temperature logger placed mid-shelf for 48 hours. The variance held within 1.5 degrees Celsius of the set point. That's plus 1 degree C, which Antarctic Star claims, and in this test, they weren't wrong. Door open recovery, after 3 consecutive openings in quick succession, simulating a hosting scenario, returned to set point in under 5 minutes. That's competitive for this price tier. The temperature range runs 40 degrees to 61 degrees. Same ceiling as most single zone competitors. It covers sparkling wines, whites, rosé, and lighter reds without compromise. Full-bodied reds being aged long-term, one a few degrees warmer, this unit caps before that range. For everyday drinking, that's irrelevant. For serious cellaring, it matters. And then there's the detail that changes the purchase for some buyers entirely. Antarctic Star describes this unit as quiet. And in the right context, that's accurate. In a kitchen with ambient sound, conversation, a television, background music, the compressor hum disappears entirely. You will not notice it. In a quiet room at night, it's a different situation. The compressor cycles roughly every 2 hours. Each cycle lasts a few minutes. The sound is not loud by appliance standards, but it carries. In testing, it measured around 42 to 45 decibels at 1 meter during active cooling. That's within the range of a quiet refrigerator. But a quiet refrigerator in a bedroom, study, or small apartment living space has a very different effect than the same unit in a busy kitchen. There's another layer to this. A meaningful percentage of buyer reports across multiple verified purchase reviews describe units that arrived with a louder than expected compressor. Not a design defect in most cases, but a variance issue. Some units cycle quietly. Some cycle with a faint whooshing or rattling undertone. The range of experiences is wider than you want at this price. Antarctic Star's customer service response to these cases appears to be responsive, credits issued, replacements arranged, but that's a remediation story, not a prevention story. If placement matters to you, if this unit is going anywhere near where you sleep or work, that variance is worth taking seriously before you open the box. Here's where the Antarctic Star separates itself from most wine-specific competitors in this class, the 130 can configuration. Remove the bottle shelves, load it with cans, and this becomes a beverage cooler with serious capacity relative to its footprint. For someone stocking a home, bar, an office break room, or a game room setup with a mix of wine and canned beverages, that flexibility changes the value calculation significantly. Most dedicated wine coolers in the $130 to $180 range are locked into bottle storage. The Antarctic Star is built to do both, not simultaneously, but if the configuration is one or the other, but the adaptability is real and genuinely useful. If you primarily drink wine, this feature barely matters. If your collection is mixed, bottles some weeks, cans others, it adds a layer of utility most buyers in this bracket won't find elsewhere. At this price, typically $130 to $160. The most direct comparison is the Koolatron 24-bottle Urban Series. The Koolatron runs Thermoelectric, which means quieter operation and gentler vibration, but slower cooling and reduced performance in warmer ambient environments. In a room above 80 degrees, thermoelectric coolers struggle. The Antarctic Star's compressor doesn't have that limitation. The EUHOMY 45-bottle unit sits a step above in capacity, nearly double at a slightly higher price. If you need 40-plus bottles stored, the EUHOMY is the more logical choice. For 20 to 26 bottles in a tighter space, the Antarctic Star's narrower footprint wins. The Ivation 28-bottle compressor unit adds a door lock and a tighter build quality, typically for $50 to $80 more. That gap in price buys you more consistency. If noise variance is a concern and you want more predictable quality control, the Ivation is worth the difference. What the Antarctic Star does best, it puts real compressor performance in a narrow, affordable package that doubles as a beverage cooler. That combination at this price is genuinely hard to find. By the third week, a few patterns became clear. The manual defrost is the one area where Antarctic Star asks something of the owner. Unlike units with automatic defrost cycles, frost will build over time, particularly if the door is opened frequently. In a humid environment, this happens faster. Plan for a light defrost roughly once per season. It's a minor process, but it's yours to manage. The digital touch panel is responsive and clear. The temperature memory function, which restores your last set point after a power interruption, works as described. No reprogramming after a power outage. That's a small thing that matters more than expected over months of actual use. The interior LED does not emit UV. This is a non-negotiable feature for wine storage, and Antarctic Star gets it right. Some units add this tear-cut corners with standard cool white lighting that can degrade wine over time. The soft blue LED here is appropriate. The glass door maintains its seal consistently. No cold spots along the frame, no condensation leak. Buy it if you're storing 20 to 26 bottles, working with a narrow counter or bar space, and want genuine compressor performance without crossing $160. The dual use capacity is a real bonus if your storage needs shift between bottles and cans. Temperature stability is solid. For everyday drinking and casual collecting, it delivers. Think carefully if placement puts it near a quiet, sleeping, or working environment. The noise variance between units is the single biggest risk in this purchase. Not a flaw of design, but a flaw of consistency. If that risk is acceptable, or if placement keeps it out of earshot, the Antarctic Star earns its place. Skip it if you need under-counter installation. This unit is freestanding only and requires clearance on both sides. Skip it if you're aging bottles for more than a couple of years, or if your collection runs toward fuller-bodied reds that want temperatures above 61 degrees. At its best, the Antarctic Star is a practical, no-pretense cooler that does more with less space than most of its competitors. At its inconsistent, it's a lesson in why quality control matters more than specs. Know which one you're getting, and now at least you know what to look for.